Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to unlock some really powerful grammar tools that will make your English sound supernatural and fluent. We're moving way beyond the basics to get the hang of advanced passive structures, so let's just dive right in.
All right, let's kick things off with a super common situation. Your friend sees your car is running great and asks, "Hey, who fixed your car?" Just think about it for a sec. What's the first thing that pops into your head? How would you answer that question?
Now, you could totally say, a mechanic fixed my car. And hey, that's not wrong. But notice the difference here. The more fluent answer, I had my car fixed, it flips the focus back onto you and the service you paid for. And that little flip, that's the secret sauce for our first advanced tool.
Okay, so our first section is all about getting things done. We're going to look at using have and get for services, which is a structure you're going to hear all the time from native speakers.
You know, the main idea here is actually pretty simple. You use have or get something done when you arrange for someone else to do a job for you. Think of it like this. You wouldn't say, I serviced my car if a mechanic did all the work, right? No, you'd say, I've just had my car serviced.
And what's cool is how flexible this is. You can use it for something you planned, like, I have my apartment cleaned every month. But you can also use it for something crummy that just happened to you, like we had our car broken into last week. See? In both situations, the action happened to something you own.
So the big question is, when do you use get instead of have? Well, get kind of adds this extra little feeling to it. You use it when you want to show something is necessary, like I really must get my hair cut. Or maybe a sense of accomplishment, like I finally got the car fixed. And for commands, it's definitely the go-to.
Oh, and here's a great little shortcut for you. If you just want to point out that a job needs to be done, you can use the super simple need-doing structure. So instead of a whole long sentence, you can just say, your hair needs cutting. It's super direct, gets the point across fast, and people use it all the time.
All right, let's move on to our next tool. This one is perfect for when you want to talk about what people say or what's generally known, but you want to sound a lot more polished and objective.
Okay, I know this table might look a little intimidating at first glance, but trust me, the logic behind it is super simple. Just look at the examples. If you're talking about a present fact, you use the present infinitive. Vitamin C is known to be good for colds. Easy. If the thing you're reporting happened in the past, you use the past infinitive. Smith is believed to have left. And if it's still happening now, you use the continuous. Mary is thought to be living in Scotland. See what's happening? You're just matching the type of infinitive to the time of the action.
And hey, what if the thinking or believing part happened in the past? Guess what? The rule doesn't change one bit. You just put the first verb in the past. So it becomes Sue was thought to have paid too much. Super simple, super consistent. Okay, so we've been a little formal. Let's switch gears and talk about something way more casual. It's a really common alternative you hear in everyday speech. We're talking about the get passive. This one is so easy. It's basically just a swap. In casual spoken English, you can just take out be and pop in get. So instead of the slightly more formal Martin was arrested, you'll hear people say Martin got arrested. It just gives the sentence a bit more action, makes it sound way more like you're just chatting with someone.
All right, time for the finishing touches. These are the little details that can take your English from good to, wow, that sounds really natural. We're going to look at prepositions and a couple of verbs that can be a little tricky.
Okay, first things first, let's bust a huge grammar myth. You might have been told somewhere along the way to never, ever end a sentence with a preposition. Well, in the passive voice, it's not just okay. A lot of the time, it's the only way that makes sense. Our house was broken into is absolutely perfect.
Okay, pay close attention here because this one is super important. By versus with. It can be tricky, but this example makes it so clear. If Dave was hit by a branch, it was an accident. The branch just fell on him. But if Dave was hit with a branch, whoa, that means someone picked it up and used it as a weapon. Agent versus instrument. It's a huge difference.
All right, let's zoom in on a tricky little verb, make. In the active voice, it's really straightforward. My boss made me work hard. Say that? Made me work. No to in there. Simple.
But watch what happens when we make it passive. Suddenly, this tiny little word pops in. To. I was made to work hard. It's such a small detail, but man, getting it right really shows you know your stuff.
And last but not least, when we're talking about verbs that mean covering or filling something up, you've actually got a few options. A lot of the time, with or in just feels more natural than by.
I mean, a train is packed with people, right? And furniture is covered in dust. You're describing what something is filled or covered with.
Okay, so our grammar toolkit is now packed with some seriously cool new tools. We've got have something done, those reporting passives, the casual get passive, and all those little details about prepositions. So let's do a quick recap. When do you actually use these things?
So here's the bottom line. You want to use these structures with a purpose, right? Pull them out when you're writing something formal or academic. Definitely use them when you want to put the focus on the thing that's being affected. They're perfect for sounding objective and impersonal, like in science. And of course, they're your best friend for getting away from weak phrases like people say.
And that really brings us full circle, doesn't it? These things that can feel like really tricky, boring grammar rules, they're not. They're actually super powerful, practical tools for communicating better, for expressing yourself with way more style and precision.
So here's my challenge for you. Now that you have all these new tools in your toolkit, which one are you going to try first? Maybe you'll talk about something you recently had done, or share a fact that is known to be true. Just pick one, and I want you to try and use it in a real sentence today. Go for it. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer.